Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show. This podcast is short, fun, and jam-packed with good ideas that you can start using right away.
Welcome to another episode. I'm your co-host, Ellen, along with my co-host...
1, 2, 3, Lee! That's a game I play.
It's a great game. I'm not sure what the plan is, but it's a game. And today I want us to talk about making our lives into games, which may sound weird at the beginning, but we'll make you understand what's going on. When we play games, we are engaged in play. And as adults, we need to add more play into our lives. And whether that's board games, outside games like playing basketball or even tag, or maybe it's just coloring, that is play. Play is the opposite of work. And when we engage in play, we can lower cortisol, and that means we've lowered our stress. We increase dopamine, which, pleasure and reward in the brain. We increase our bonding hormones, and we calm our nervous system. So those are amazing things that we can get just from playing. And what I am proposing is that we start making our lives into games so that we more easily get things done or achieve goals.
Well, you wouldn't be the first, and that means it's a good idea because Google was one of the companies that, they had little pods that you could go to. They had slides you'd go down to get from one floor to the other. They had all kinds of ways that you could play games with your coworkers. And out of that came some really good ideas because sometimes you do need to just disengage from the quote unquote work into a play mode for the good ideas to surface, because sometimes the work you is like, no, that'll never work, or they tried that before. But then when you're playing, like, hey, what about this and what about that? So adding play adds creativity. Adding creativity adds innovation. Innovation makes you famous and rich. And then you see where I'm going with this? You're gonna be famous someday. Just by playing.
Well, I always think of video games. Here's a game you play on your phone or your computer. And games always have sort of a pattern. There's like that big flashy open where the music plays and you get what you're getting into. And then you have a kind of roadmap of where you've been and what's coming up. But here you are right now. So you can see your progress and see where you've got to go. Those two things in and of themselves, if we add them into our lives, especially if we're trying to achieve goals, I think they add so much. So how would you make it splashy? So, hey, this is my goal. So maybe I make something that I put on as a screensaver on my computer, or I make a little flyer I put on my refrigerator that reminds me every day that, this is what I am working for. And then as far as having a roadmap, maybe you have the calendar, and every day that you're successful working towards your goal, you put a big red X or stick a star like you're 5 years old. And you can see, okay, I've still got 20 days to go, but wow, look at that. I've been consistent for 60 days. So just those two things that we just steal from a video game, I think are going to add play into our lives and make us more successful.
I've learned this from coaching, but I've learned this from life in general, that competitiveness, that adding the element of keeping score or somebody wins, that pushes you past what you would have done if it didn't matter. It's just what we used to call a friendly or a scrimmage. There's nothing friendly about it. And somehow the other coach never always got the message about this. We're just scrimmaging. Why are you pitching your best pitcher? But the point is, when it doesn't matter, we don't try as hard. When we know it counts. And so giving yourself the reward, maybe if it's just you compete against yourself, try and do things faster. Try and do them a little bit better, and maybe try and just do them in a consistent. I need to do this 5 days in a row, and I get a something where you're actually rewarding yourself for your consistency, or rewarding yourself for doing something better and faster and easier. I think that competitive part of the gamification is what drives us to new heights.
Yeah. Yeah, and involving other people gives us accountability as well without them going, pointing their fingers. But you get this accountability when you're competitive.
Yeah, and I'm competitive, so I will get the last word of this episode, no
Can't
matter
wait.
what. Yeah, well, no,
Ooh.
no, I'm just kidding. But it is good to compete. For the listeners, I don't know if you know this, but our goal was originally that these episodes should be less than 10 minutes, then no less than 8 minutes, then less than 7 minutes. So we're aiming for less than 7 minutes, and that competitiveness has helped us stay focused. I know it doesn't seem like it, but helps us stay focused on the topics and pushes us to try and get to the point quicker. So anytime you add the element of keeping score or a game or anything, I think that's a really good way to see how you're doing, and when you're doing well, to reward yourself and to push yourself.
Yeah, make it a game. Make it fun, because when we're having fun, we're more likely to do what we should be doing.
Exactly.
If it's fun to
Oh, get that last word.
get that last word. So, think about how you can add more play into your life. Make it all a game, and make it a game to be back here next week to listen to another episode.
Yeah, another episode.